G'day over there. Keithy here, thanks for joining me again. It's been a while since I've seen you guys. It's been a while since I've had really great health, to be honest. So what am I doing here today? Well, I've got the bonnet up, going to do something while I can do it. I've got some tools up here. I've got the Range Rover bonnet open, obviously. I've also wanted to have a bit of a chat about some of the stuff that's going on with me at the moment, so we can sort of do a few things at one time in this conversation, guys. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, beer, any kind of drink you want, even if it's just plain old water. Who would think? And let's get into it and see what we're going to chat about. Well, we couldn't go without checking this out.
Preparing tyres now. G'day Keithy here. G'day Keithy here. G'day.
So I chose pretty much the best day in North Queensland to do this. Summer's not here yet, so we're still nice and reasonably cool. I can break a sweat, but it's not too hot to actually still get out. And my health is still reasonably okay for me to be able to get in and do some stuff. If you saw my last video, you would have noticed a lot of this stuff here has changed because I've removed all of the old LPG stuff. Why did I do that? Well, they don't sell it in Townsville anymore, so I can't get it. Why, if I can't get it, should I keep the stuff in the car? That was a hilarious video because I sort of went to the length of taking everything out and then realised halfway through that the car wouldn't work because it still needed certain things to remain in. So up here we've got some stuff still left in here from LPG operation that I can't get rid of basically. The thing won't run if I don't have that. So yay for me. I've got some stuff here. If you've already had a bit of a look, I've got some spark plugs here, some of my tools as well. So we might as well do something while I can do it. Spark plugs, they're petrol related things for this Range Rover. So these ones took a little bit longer to get to me than the other ones. I usually would go to Super Cheap to get all my bits, but believe it or not, Super Cheap don't sell NGK products anymore. So I went to Repco to get the spark plugs this time. But like I said just before as well, this thing is not running LPG anymore. The system is not running. There's no gas left in the car and there's no gas left in town, so I can't even use it. So what I've also done is I've changed back to the factory NGK spark plugs, NGK BPR5, BPR.
But I know you want more.
This is where my head is really funny.
But there's more.
EFS.
But there's still more.
Yeah, I'll just have a quick look at that.
Bring us in the next 15 minutes and we'll even include this two-piece carving set.
BPR6, BPR5, 5.
This is truly an amazing offer.
I'm pretty certain it's a BPR5 EFS. With all the brain stuff I got going on, my head is pretty forgetful, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is for this spark plug. So we've got 8 of them. There's a funny story about the treatment that I'm going through, the brain tumour stuff. So I went in to get these spark plugs today. At Super Cheap obviously don't sell them, so I had to go to Repco. I went in and I made the order, and yep, no, we got them, no worries. But I'm very forgetful, often forgetful because of the treatment and what I'm going through, so I forget things. So numbers are a really big thing that I forget, and I went out with 6 spark plugs instead of the 9 that I needed, so I had to go back in and get the remaining ones. What we're going to do here, we got the spark plugs, we got the spark plug measure, so we can actually make sure that they have got the correct gap. So I'm going to run this at a 10mm gap, and used to run at a 6mm, and then I went up to a 7 as well. So I tried 6 and 7 when running on LPG because you just need a tiny little bit of tighter gap. I've got the tools as well. The only two tools that I should really need to do this job, if I need to make any adjustments, is just a screwdriver and a shift hammer, just to make small adjustments. Don't need to make, and probably won't need to make, very many big adjustments at all with this thing if it's not already close enough to the 10mm that it needs to be at running on petrol normally. And I suppose I should tell you that the reason that I am doing this right now is because after running on LPG for so long, the old spark plug leads that are in it right now, they worked very, very hard to run that thing on LPG. And as a result, they wear a lot quicker than what the ones that run on just petrol all the time would run on. So I'm at a point now where I need to replace the spark plugs again. So I'm going to put the right ones in now, seeing as I'm not going to change that. There is a chance though that I might also need to change the, not the plugs, but the leads, because the leads also work pretty hard on these things when they run on LPG. Like I said, no more LPG in this thing, but it still has its wear and tear on all the LPG stuff. So I'm hoping that just putting the right size and breed spark plug in it will sort that problem. But you never know, I may have to come back in and change all of the plug leads as well. Fingers crossed we don't have to do that. And then, I mean, there could be a worst case scenario as well that I need to take out some of the coil packs. But yeah, here's hoping we don't have to do that. The coil packs in this thing aren't actually that old. I think they'd be lucky to have done even 40,000 Ks. I remember I changed all of the coil plugs in this thing, yeah, a couple of years ago, but not all that long ago. So I don't think that they need to be changed, but it's possible that that may happen as well. So if I get in and do these things and it starts to get a little misfire here and there, then guess who's going to be doing a bit more work than he planned on doing. All right, so we're going to run the 6mm gap, which is the factory gap on this thing. See, this is where this brain tumour mucks me around, makes me sound like an idiot. 1mm, 1.0, I hope I got that right. That's the gap that we need to run on these spark plugs. So you just got to go through pretty easy. Make sure that it's the right size. If it's not the right size, then make it the right size. BPR 5 ES. That's the plugs that we're using. Okay, fine. It took me long enough, but we got there. We got there. How do you check your spark plug caps? Pretty easy. Put this fella under here. And away you go. Now, if it doesn't fit, you can open it up a little bit. If it's tight, then maybe you want to open it up just a tiny bit. You don't want it too tight, but at the same time, you don't want it too loose. So that's not going to fit. It's right on the cusp there of fitting. So I might make that a little bit bigger. Just the tiniest little bit. That's where these bad boys come in handy. Tiny little screwdriver. Tiny little bit. Everything's tiny around here at the moment. That screwdriver's a motto, it's a bit too big. Get a smaller one, Keithy. It's not very professional, is it? Using a screwdriver to open up a spark plug gap on a Range Rover. But anyway, just open it a tiny bit. You don't want to overdo it because otherwise it'll not fire tight enough. You want it to be a little bit tight like a tiger. So that's going in there now. I'm not fighting that, so we'll call that one good. Put this fella back on here. Didn't take much to do that, so I'm very happy with that. Where's the box? There it is. Forget everything. I'm sure if you've been watching my videos for some time, or even if you haven't, you'll understand that I've been dealing with a grade 3 brain tumour for a number of years now. 2.5 years actually. It's almost 3 years, believe it or not. A lot of people would say that I'm lucky. I'm not very, well, I'm lucky, but I'm not lucky, if you know what I mean. So having a brain tumour in itself is not a good thing, especially one that's of a grade 3, which it is, the one that I'm dealing with, because unfortunately the bigger the grade, the harder they are to fight, you know. So if it was a grade 4, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys right now, or I wouldn't be far off the end. I'm a grade 3 at the moment, which is not good, but at the end of the day it's still not looking all that good long term, unless between now and whenever my time is about to finish, there's some kind of miracle cure that can come along and turn living brain tumours to dead for good. Now, if you do watch YouTube, there's a fella that is actually doing his own videos. He's doing his own treatment on his brain tumour. He's a category 4, grade 4 tumour that he's getting around with, and he's actually, because of his I'd say luck, he's a professional, what is it? He's a professor himself. Actually, he was the Australian of the Year last year, if I remember correctly. So his is a grade 4, which is, mine's a grade 3, so he's obviously a little bit more severe than the one that I'm running around in, and he's running his own little trial to get rid of the one that he's got, which is very interesting. So if you are if you're able to, go and find him. I'm still going on my treatment right now, and I'm having a good day to be able to actually get out here and talk to you guys and do something at the moment. I'm on medication like you would not believe. I'm not on just chemo. I'm on 3 different types of chemo at the moment to keep me kicking, doing good, I guess you'd say. It is not pleasant. I think if you were to, so I'm not doing, that's one thing I meant to talk to you about too. I was doing that treatment in Brisbane for the brain tumour. Unfortunately, I'm not doing that any longer because it was unsuccessful, so the brain tumour was growing back. It was not actually successful. I'd done about, I think I would say, maybe 3 months of their treatment, and unfortunately it wasn't being successful, so the brain tumour was growing back, which is obviously not what I'm here to do. I want to try and get rid of it, but that's not going to happen by the sounds. Now I might just hit this a tiny bit because I think I over... So yeah, it's not very good in terms of brain tumour stuff for me. What have I got to do now? Well, I'm staying on this new type of chemo, which is 3 different types. It's not very pleasant, and I'll be absolutely honest with that. I don't recommend it, but you know, when you're in a position where you don't really have a choice, you either take the treatment or you just let things disappear naturally and whatnot. Then you know, I think a lot of people would probably take the similar way that I am taking right now. At the stage, what this brain tumour has done, and because of where it's hitting me, things are being affected. So my memory is one of those things. I'm sure you probably already know that I'm a bit different. I'm a bit slower than I normally would be in terms of coming up with the right answers, or I might have even said a number of times, and you've probably identified it, but I haven't, that I'm saying the wrong thing. So if I'm talking about something specific, you know, it's possible that I might get the wrong answers out, and that's because of the damage that's happened to the brain, to my brain, during this treatment. It's not as a result of the surgery, it's actually just because the brain isn't able to repair itself the way that it normally would, simply because it's been damaged by this cancer, which is no good. But I am still kicking around and trying to do as much as I can to keep things moving, rocking and rolling, and live life as much as I can for now, because there's no point stopping when you can still breathe. If you can still breathe and walk, then might as well keep doing it, because no one's going to come along and do it for you, are they? What am I going to do in the meantime anyway? Well, there's not much else that I can do, because it's a bit rough with this to try and go and do what I would have done when I was at work and getting paid to work, because it's a bit dangerous when you have like things that could happen in your workplace. I would be able to possibly go somewhere where you don't have to think a lot, not because I'm dumb, well, let's face it, I am, but that's because of the damage that's been done to my brain with this cancer. But it's a danger to put me out there and do that kind of thing all of the time. Now, I'm not going to fall off the side of the road if I go driving or anything like that. The things that my brain is affected by at the moment is literally remembering like names, people, your name, my name. What else can I think of? Like parts, car parts, for example. When I started this video with you guys, I had trouble remembering the car parts that I was going to be taking out to show you guys today. And that's the kind of thing that this cancer is affecting me by. That was a good one, it was straight in. I might just tap that a little bit, try and just tighten it a little bit. And it's really hard to take that, you know, from a receiving end, because you're essentially having to accept that your memory is really, really bad, and a lot of the time the things that come out of my mouth are going to be wrong in terms of those really, really hard things. If I was to go into a spelling competition right now, wow, that's really hard. So what I often do too is if I get onto Talkin, which is the mining app that I'm a part of, it would take me longer to do that than you or anyone else for that matter, because the thought process is in my head because of this brain tumour is really, really damaged. It's crazy, hey? So this is what a grade 3 astroglioma. See, I can't even get it right. That's what's happening. Astrocytoma it is. That's what it can do to your brain. Go from a completely, really smart person. If you've seen the early videos that I did, I was definitely not like this, forgetting things and all of that kind of stuff. Whereas now, that's something that you probably never forget, you know, the name of the type of brain tumour that you've got. And you get affected pretty crazy by it. What else does it affect? Physically, I've had to slow down more so because of the treatment that I'm on. So I'm on the Dex. I don't know if you know about the Dex. The Dex is, it's the drug. See, now I've been on dexamethasone for quite some time as a part of my treatment, and I can't even remember what it does, so don't quote me on this. But the Dex, it helps with the swelling inside the head, inside the brain, inside the body. Sometimes you'll find that bodybuilders will use it as a part of their treatment. So, I mean, I'm a bit chubby at the moment, not going to lie. I am quite a lot chubbier than I was, and that is a result of my body adding a lot of weight because of dexamethasone, sort of the way that it pins to your body. So if I was to do weights, for example, then dexamethasone would be quite helpful. If I was going to the gym every day to try and put on some muscles and whatnot. And that's one of the parts of the treatment that I'm on, among the many. If I was to show you all of the tablets and all this other stuff and whatnot that I take right now, you guys you wouldn't believe me actually. There's so much in there that I have to take, and that's not fun. What I'll do now is I'll get the rest of these done and I'll start putting them in, and I'll show you hopefully the end result with a new set of spark plugs that are not causing that misfire that I was getting. And if there is, then I'm going to be doing some leads, which I didn't really want to have to do, but anyway, that's probably what I'm going to do. So I'll get back to you guys once I've got these in, and we can have a look from there. Okay, so we got them out. 4 of them over here, 4 of them over here. Gapped them, they were all at about 0.8, so it was a little bit low to run on petrol. Now, time to get in here. If you haven't done these spark plug leads before yourself, they can be fun. So they're all down in here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, and 4 on the other side. And you've got to get in here. It's a bit hard to see, I'm sorry. You've got to get in here, remove your plug leads from down the bottom there, and take your spark plugs out and put the new ones in. So I'll get the camera out, and maybe I can do a bit of a time lapse or something like that if it's not going to take too long. Otherwise I'll just show you the finished product. Alrighty, here we go. Trusty old ratchet. See, I can't even remember the name of it properly. Anyway, let's get all these spark plugs out, guys. We'll start at the back. Try and get the hard ones first, and go from there. Just make the job a little bit easier to get the hard ones first, I reckon. There we go. Oh yeah, that's dirty. Definitely needs to be cleaned, that's for sure, but we're going to replace it. So you'll notice this too, BPR6 ES, and the new ones are BPR5 ES, and that's because we're running no LPG. So this is a good spark plug if I was running LPG. Not running LPG anymore, so we're going to run the factory ones again. So I'll put this one over here. Make sure you put them in by hand. If you put them in with the tool, there's a chance that you can put it in threaded, and that won't go down very well if you want to start an engine that's been threaded. Nice and firm, but not super duper tight. Always just double check with your hand. And I'll go down once they're all done, and I'll just wipe them down. Sometimes a job like this can be done hard or easy. This one, they weren't on extremely tight, which is really good. So last time that those plugs were done, they were done not over tight, which is a good thing. Means I can do the job now without having to get too many of them. I've put them all in order so I can have a look afterwards as well, from the front of the car to the back. Just makes it a little bit easier if you want to go and diagnose anything that's gone wrong. And in. All right, we'll go over now to the other side and get all of the ones on the passenger side of the car. Wow, that was easy. That was a bit easier than I was expecting. And you'll see down in here too, there's a little bit more real estate on this left-hand side to get in and do this kind of job, because there's not so much stuff in the way. Makes it quite easy when you're going to do the job, doesn't it? I'm glad I did the other side first. Need to be a bit taller. I've got the suspension set at a height, so I'm having to stand on my tiptoes here to reach. Goes in so easy. Oh my God. It's so hard to explain how easy it is when you have that, just a tiny little bit of fresh engine oil on there to lubricate that. I'm glad to be doing this job before summer, even though I am sweating, and this is North Queensland, because doing this during summer would be just so hot. It makes it so much more difficult, and you tend to try and rush to get the job done and end up making mistakes. And then I'll double check that other side, and we can start him up and just make sure that it works. That's the main thing here, is that it actually works. The plug gaps and all that are good. Beautiful. All right, so I'll move all of this stuff off here now, and we'll start her up. I'll put all this back together and we'll see how it sounds. All right, so that was actually reasonably easy. I mean, I got a little bit of blood here from one of these. It was a little bit tight to get off, unfortunately. But doing 8 spark plug leads, spark plugs I should say, not a bad little effort here considering what I'm going through at the moment. That's all it took to do it today, which was really good. None of them were on there super tight. In fact, I was a little bit worried about how soft they might have been on the other side. I don't know if that maybe caused a misfire or anything like that. Time to start it up and see if it goes. So I'll put these down and we'll fire it up. Hopefully it sounds like it should. And what I can do for you guys is I can go for a drive, and I'll let you know if it's got any misfires or anything happening. All right, here we go. Let's fire up. Sounds pretty good. Smooth. Sounds very smooth. It feels smooth, like when you touch it, you can feel that it's running smooth, so a good thing. Take it for a drive. All right, let's go for a little drive. So far, it doesn't feel like... That's better. So sometime, at the moment, it doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel like it's missing or anything like that. So that's really good. It's running smooth and idling nicely. We'll go for a little drive and see what we got. Just up the road and back, that's all we need to do. And then you guys can tell me what you think of the job, and then I can cool up and have a rest. Yeah, it feels good. There's definitely no misfires. Now there was a misfire before, which is what sort of which got me going to do this in the first place, to change the plugs. So that's really good. And I haven't run this type of plug ever in the entire time I've had this P38, because it's had LPG, gas, and petrol at the same time. So I've had different spark plugs, leads, spark plug leads. I'll get it right one of these days, don't you worry. The entire time I've had this thing, it's always had gas plug leads. So it's running the ones that it should be running to run on petrol now, factory plugs, leads. How many times do I have to say it? We'll go around this way, see how it feels, see how it looks, see if it makes noises or anything weird. So far, it just feels like a smooth P38. Yeah, smooth, powerful. So it's not definitely not lacking in power. We're doing 60 kilometers an hour already. That happened very quick. In fact, I've just caught the car that's in front of us already. That's how quick we're going. He's going 60 kilometers an hour. So that is a good thing. It's definitely not lacking power. If you've seen the video that I did on the other P38 that you guys haven't really had much of a look at yet, you'll notice that they're both Bosch 4.6 litre V8s petrols. The difference between this one and the other one, which you guys haven't really seen much or anything from me about, is that this one is high compression and the other one that I have is not a high compression 4.6 litre. You might sort of wonder, is there much of a difference between the high compression and the low compression or normal compression or whatever you want to call it? To drive it, yes, there is actually. It's noticeable that this one is more powerful than the other P38 that I've got, which has the same size, same capacity engine, and is also a Bosch engine. It is definitely noticeable that this one has got much more go about it. So it's really good to drive. But just driving around now, it's feeling smooth. It's feeling comfortable. It doesn't have any misfires. Before I recorded this video for you guys, what got me going to make this video in the first place, or what got me going to do the job itself, was that I had a misfire happening. Now I'll have to go back through the database to find out which cylinders they were, but now there's definitely not a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know maybe in a couple of days how it goes on a cold morning, because we're on a warm start here. You can see I'm sweating. So right now the temperature is sitting at around 38, 39 degrees. I might try on a cold morning and see how it goes on a cold morning, see if there's any difference, and I'll get back to you if there is a difference. If not, if you don't hear from me, then we'll just assume that it's all good. But just driving right now, this one feels quite good. It's comfortable. Definitely not having any trouble cruising around at 2400 RPM. Really, it's a good thing. This thing, if you go over 3000 RPM in this thing, you're fairly moving. You don't need to give it anything to go anywhere. We're doing 2000 RPM just at normal, street, going up the street kind of RPM. This idiot's riding his push bike right on the side of the road. I'm already doing over the speed limit. I'm doing 58 kilometers an hour. Got to watch out. It surprises you. This one has got a lot of go about it. But as far as this is concerned, this job, guys, I think that we've done the right thing here by changing those spark plug leads, and she's running back to normal. I hope the video is not too long, guys. I didn't want to make a long video because I know that they can become just a bit boring sitting there watching a video with someone say the same thing over and over again. So I will try and cut it down, make it nice and short for you, so that it's not so boring for you to watch. But otherwise, thanks for coming again. If you've got any questions to do with anything that I've got going on with the brain tumour stuff, or anything for that matter, then feel free to let me know. I'm not afraid to have a chat about it. Obviously it's not the best thing to have a brain tumour to deal with. But anyway, if you've got any questions about the P38, let me know. Always happy to talk about the P38 as well. Go for a drive. If I'm going to go for a camp or anything like that, if I get to a stage where I'm good enough to do things like that, I'll do it, and I will let you know ASAP when I do, so that you guys are the first. Thanks again for watching the video. Appreciate your time. Take care, look after yourself, and I'll see you next time. Just imagine that I'm now pressing the off button because I can't actually reach the camera at the moment to turn it off. Radar, can you do that for me?